Today, I know my story isn't rare, even though it once felt unbearably personal. What happened to me happens quietly to millions of women across the world every day. Emotional abandonment often begins long before anyone packs a bag or closes a door. It starts with absence disguised as normalcy. Many women live inside relationships where their emotional needs are minimized, postponed, or ignored. From the outside, everything looks intact. Inside, something essential is missing. Society rarely names this as loss, even though it drains people slowly, year after year. Studies confirm what lived experience already knows. Women often carry the emotional labor of relationships, even as they sacrifice financial independence, career momentum, and personal ambition for family stability. When marriages end, those sacrifices don't magically disappear. They compound. Yet when separation happens, the first question is rarely compassionate. It's often, why didn't you try harder? Why didn't you hold on? Why didn't you make it work? The burden quietly shifts back onto the woman, as if endurance alone could fix imbalance. What's rarely asked is why she was carrying so much alone in the first place. Why her needs were negotiable. Why her exhaustion was invisible. Why survival was mistaken for strength. We live in a culture that romanticizes sacrifice without questioning its cost. Women are praised for staying, for tolerating, for forgiving endlessly. Leaving is framed as weakness, even when staying requires self-erasure. I see now how deeply that narrative shaped my choices, how it taught me to confuse loyalty with silence, how it trained me to believe that love meant proving my worth through endurance. What healing taught me is this: love should not require you to disappear. If you must become smaller to be loved, that isn't love. It's containment. Being left does not mean being broken. That truth took time to settle. At first, abandonment felt like rejection, like evidence of inadequacy. But slowly, understood something else had happened. I wasn't discarded. I was released from a role that was costing me myself. What felt like loss was also an ending to quiet suffering I had normalized. Strength, I learned, isn't found in staying at all costs. It's found in honesty, in boundaries, in choosing yourself when staying destroys you slowly. There is a particular courage required to walk away from what looks stable but feels empty. That courage is rarely celebrated. It's often misunderstood, but it's real. Society struggles to sit with complexity. It prefers clear villains and simple explanations. Emotional neglect doesn't fit neatly into those categories, so it's often dismissed. But emotional abandonment leaves deep marks. It reshapes self-worth. It teaches people to doubt their instincts. It convinces them that asking for care is asking for too much. When those relationships end, the grief is layered. You grieve the person. You grieve the future. You grieve the version of yourself that tried so hard to make it work. And yet, within that grief, something else grows. Awareness, clarity, self-trust that had been buried under years of adjustment. I began to notice how often women around me shared similar stories in hushed tones. Different details, same patterns: silence, sacrifice, self-doubt. We don't lack resilience. We lack permission to prioritize ourselves without guilt. We lack narratives that honor leaving as much as staying. Healing didn't turn me into someone unafraid. It made me someone willing to listen to fear instead of obeying it. Someone who recognizes discomfort as information, weakness. I learned that loneliness inside a relationship is far more damaging than solitude outside of it. Alone, at least, you are honest with yourself. Choosing myself didn't mean I stopped valuing connection. It meant I stopped accepting connection that required self-abandonment. The strength I found wasn't loud. It didn't arrive dramatically. It showed up quietly, in daily choices, in self-respect practiced consistently. I stopped apologizing for needing reciprocity. I stopped explaining why emotional presence matters. I stopped negotiating for basic care. That shift changed how I see relationships entirely. Love is not proven by suffering. It is sustained by mutual effort, accountability, and respect. If there's one uncomfortable truth this journey revealed, it's that many systems are designed to benefit from women staying silent, from women enduring quietly. Questioning those systems feels threatening. Choosing differently feels rebellious. but it is also deeply necessary. The worst day of my life felt like an ending, but it was also a beginning disguised as devastation. I couldn't see it then. I can see it now. Healing didn't erase the pain. It gave it meaning. It transformed loss into information. It turned heartbreak into clarity. I no longer measure success by how much I can tolerate. I measure it by how aligned my life feels with who I am. If this story sounds familiar, know this. You are not alone. You are not weak for feeling empty. You are not failing because you want more. Empathy begins when we stop asking why someone stayed and start asking what it cost them. Growth begins when we stop judging survival strategies and start honoring healing. I hope this story encourages gentler conversations with others, with yourself, about love, about loss, about what strength truly looks like. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is listen to the quiet truth you've been carrying all along. And sometimes, the day everything falls apart is also the day you finally begin to come back to yourself.